Yes, you are.
For what reason?
We are now conducting an investigation to find out what you're doing here.
For what am I doing that's suspicious?
Well, when you're taking pictures of police
Is that
officers,
illegal?
Well, if
Can I
you're
have your
looking-
name and badge number? Your name and badge number?
Sure.
What's your name and badge number?
However, if I'm going to answer your
Set
question.
that thing down, real. I want the pull down.
Okay.
Put your hands up over your head.
Okay. Carlos Miller with Photography is Not a Crime. He's my he's the founder and publisher. He's my boss. I'm out here on assignment to see if the right to photograph in public is respected.
In a democratic society where freedom of speech and access to information are protected by law, do you truly have the right to film in public spaces? An ordinary citizen, armed with nothing but a camera, enters a government building in search of transparency. But what happens when that lens meets the weight of law enforcement? Can the right to know be mistaken for suspicious behavior? Join us as we dive into a controversial encounter where the line between civil liberties and state authority begins to blur.
I'm curious why you're taking pictures of police cars inside the gate and coming out of the gate.
I just want to get him going by. I'm a journalist gathering content for a story.
I'm sorry?
Journalist gathering content for a story.
Really? Which organization do you work for?
Rather not answer any questions.
Do you have any ID on you, sir?
Do you have any identification?
That doesn't...
By the way, you don't have my permission to tape me, but
That's
you
fine.
can.
I'm taking you.
That's fine.
I don't need your permission. Do I need your permission?
Yes, you do.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because Florida is a second-party state. You need two parties to consent to a videotape.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and keep recording anyway.
Okay.
Do I have your consent?
No.
Okay. Do I have your consent? No? Okay. Well, I'm going to keep recording anyway.
Okay.
Do you have any ID on you?
Am I being detained? I'm free to go.
Do you have any ID on you?
We are conducting an investigation.
Did you read that card?
Because your conduct, sir.
Can you hand that
Sir.
card to him, please?
Sir.
I've explained to you I'm a journalist gathering content for a story.
However,
I'm seeking B-roll footage of a marked unit leaving the
if
gate.
you ask us, we'd be happy to provide that for you.
Well, I'd rather just wait for one to come by naturally and just get it.
Well, it's a suspicious conduct for somebody to go ahead and videotape police cars behind the gate and waiting for them to come out, only because of what's happened in past experience. So, it would not be unusual for us to say, hey, what are you doing?
Right. I understand. I'm a journalist gathering content for a story.
Okay. Do you have any identification to prove who you
Can
are?
you hand that to him so he can see it too, please?
Does that
so
have your identification?
It doesn't
is?
say who you are. It says
Can I
you
have
invoke
that?
your rights.
Can I have that? Yes, that's what it says.
Okay, are
Can
you
read
familiar
this?
with Terry versus Ohio,
Can you read this?
1968?
Am I being detained?
Yes, you are.
For what reason?
We are now conducting an investigation to find out what you're doing here.
For what am I doing that's suspicious?
Well, when you're taking pictures of police
Is that
officers...
illegal?
Well, if
Can I
you're
have your
looking-
name and badge number? Your name and badge number?
Sure.
What's your name and badge number?
However, if I'm going to answer your question first.
Okay.
If you are taking pictures of people behind this gate...
Did you see me taking pictures of people behind the gate?
Yes, I did.
Did you?
I just drove out and said, God, I wonder why that guy's taking pictures of
Right.
us behind the gate.
I'm a journalist gathering content for a story. At this point, I'd like
Okay.
to be free to go. I'm not answering any questions.
Well,
And,
I think it's suspicious activity considering
Okay.
there are all kinds of threats out there against police officers in this police department.
is
that's-
filming illegal?
Is gathering intelligence? Yes, it could be.
Gathering.
So it's
intelligence.
worth doing an investigation and say, hey, who is this person? Why are they so interested? Is there some service we can provide for them?
No thanks. I'm good.
Well, we have a public information officer if you'd like to talk to him.
I just like to get raw footage on the streets.
So your desire is to look at police cars, find out who's going on the street and who's not.
Journalist gathering content for Storia.
Well, I'm just asking you, is that what you
I was
said?
getting B-roll footage of the marked unit. I was just waiting on a marked unit to leave or come in.
Do you
And
have
that's
any
it.
identification to say that you're a journalist?
Do I need identification?
Usually journalists, that's a normal thing that a journalist would say, yes, I have, absolutely
I'm a
have
correspondent for
identification.
Photography is Not a Crime.
Which company?
For Photography is Not a Crime.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Photography is Not a Crime out of Miami.
Okay. So who do you work for there?
Carlos Miller.
Who?
Carlos Miller.
Does he have a phone number? Can we contact him
Am
to verify?
I free to go? I'd just like to be free to go. I'm getting tired of this. You guys have a nice day. If I'm not being detained, I'll see you later. But I'd like your name and badge number first.
Officer Agata.
What's your name?
Part-time officer. 14743.
Okay.
Officer Einiger, you're not free to film me.
Yeah, you really
Can I have your
don't
name and badge number, sir?
your permission. You don't have my permission to film me, sir.
Can I have your name and badge number, sir?
You can
Give
give
me
it
your
to him.
name first, and I'll give you mine.
I'd like to remain silent. May I have your name and
Okay,
badge
well, I'd
number?
like to remain silent.
You are obligated by
Officer
policy
Knight, just
to tell
give
me.
your name and ID number, and we're going to ask you to just carry on, move on about your business, sir. Because your conduct is now suspicious to me.
All right. I've already told you I'm a journalist.
Yeah. You already told me that. However, you're here. In my mind, I have to at least be sated to say, is he carrying on journalism? Because you haven't shown me that you're a journalist. You haven't proved anything to say, yeah, I'm a journalist, other than you have a camera. 2, is it unusual for people to gather intelligence on police departments to do nefarious acts? And the answer is yes.
It's almost like you wanted this to happen.
I would say. That's just my opinion. However, give him your name and number.
I was waiting for a marked unit to go by, and I was done with what I was doing.
I saw a couple go by, sir, before I pulled out of the gate.
Yeah, but none of them were marked, though. They were just like playing.
I saw a marked unit go out in front of me. So I've got to say to myself, are you really looking for footage, or are you looking to do something nefarious?
Okay.
And every time I've asked you that,
I'm a journalist gathering content.
Yeah, which I find that to be questionable at best.
And every journalist I've dealt with, it's at least provided me their name and identification of where they work for.
And the actual company, what did you say the company
Photography is not a crime.
Photography is not
out of Miami, Carlos Miller.
Carlos
Miller?
Yes,
sir.
Does he have a phone number, sir?
I do, but I don't have it off the top of my head. I'd have to stop recording.
Oh, you don't have it off the... But that's a company you work for, right?
Let me go. Am I pretty good?
Yeah, because now you're being cornered. I get it.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Have a good day.
In a society governed by law, knowledge is power. This incident wasn't just a confrontation between a citizen and the authorities. It's a powerful reminder that civil rights are not granted by default, and they should never be surrendered easily. Filming in public, especially within government spaces, isn't just a legal right. It's a means of holding power accountable. So arm yourself with knowledge, stay calm, and stand firm. Because every time you stand up for your rights, you're helping preserve freedom for everyone. A peaceful day of fishing in Florida takes a sharp turn when a legally armed citizen is confronted by police, ordered to disarm, and placed in handcuffs. But he's broken no laws, armed not just with a firearm, but with deep knowledge of his constitutional rights, from the right to bear arms to the right to remain silent. He refuses to back down. What happens next? This isn't just a stop. It's a test of freedom and the rule of law.
Down, real. I want the pull down.
Okay.
Put your hands up over your head.
Okay. I want to make it very clear I do not consent to any searches or seizures of my property.
That's nice, but you're not moving until I get another unit here.
That's fine.
I
understand.
And you do not have a pistol permit.
Not for open carry, no. I'm fishing and open carrying.
At this point, you're detained until I determine what's going on here. Do you understand that?
I understand.
All right. Do you have identification on you or not?
I do. It's in my pocket.
All right. Don't go for it.
I'm not.
Somebody called you in wearing the gun and suspicious.
Okay.
Obviously. And we're going to go ahead and conduct an investigation as soon as another unit gets here. Okay?
Understood. Are you with
I'm with the City of Ormond Beach.
Okay. Do you have a name and badge number?
Yes, I do. I'll give you my business card at the conclusion of this.
Okay. Can I go ahead and get your name and badge number? Would that be
Yeah, my badge number...
14?
14.
Okay.
Sergeant Dogger.
Okay.
10 Alpha Pencil. We don't use those. I'll give you my computer ID.
Understood.
1012 is signal 0, and I'm standing by for another unit. Do you live in the area?
I'm not answering any questions.
What type of weapon is it?
I'm not answering any questions, sir. I'll give you my name since I'm being detained. My name is Jeffrey Marcus Gray.
I'm sorry, Jeffrey Marcus Gray?
Yes, sir. Born January 8th, 1970. Other than that, I'm not answering any questions.
That's your constitutional right.
Okay.
ID through the state of Florida?
Sir, I'm not answering any questions.
Well, that question is not subject to any criminal act.
Right.
That is just to identify.
I'm a resident of Florida.
Okay. No, you don't have to. You don't have to self-incriminate under the Fifth Amendment.
Right.
But there is information that you'll have to provide me that has nothing to do with that.
I'm just gonna. Can I just adjust this camera strap because it's kind of pulling on my neck?
You don't take your hands off your head.
Okay. You do have your gun out of your holster?
Yes, I do, at my side.
Okay.
I'm not pointing it at you, but I have it at the low ready in case you were to do something offensively against me.
Understand, I do not consent to any searches or seizures of my property.
Okay, well, until we get this taken care of, I'm going to remove this from you, sir.
Do you have any other firearms or weapons on you that we need to be concerned about?
I have one that's in a concealed
Where's that
weapon.
one at?
It's on my right side and inside the waistband holster.
Okay. He's got one on
I
the
do not-
waistband there?
I do not consent to any searches or seizures of my property. They are locked and cocked. Be careful.
Do you have any other weapons that we need to be aware of?
I have 2 magazines in my left pocket. Other than that, there's no weapons.
Okay.
Left pocket, cargo pocket?
Yes, sir.
Any knives or anything that's gonna stick me?
Regular pocket.
At this point, we're going to place you in handcuffs. You're detained pursuant to investigation. You're not under arrest, but this is for your safety and ours. Do you understand that?
I do understand.
Yeah, like your prayer.
Your wallet is in your cargo pocket,
My wallet, yes, sir.
and you said you had identification in that?
It's in this pocket here.
We appreciate your cooperation.
Understood?
Where's your ID at in here?
It should be in that front slip.
This one?
No, up there where your fingers are, tip of your fingers are.
Right here?
Nope, right there where your thumb is, yes.
One disarmed or detained pursuant to investigation. Officer Evans, would you read him his constitutional rights before we proceed any further? He's already invoked, but I want him to be aware of what his constitutional rights are. And then he can make an informed decision. He probably already knows, but...
What's your name, sir?
He's got it right there, Jeffrey Marcus Gray.
Mr. Gray, I'm Officer Evans with the Ormond Beach Police Department. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used as evidence against you. You have the right to talk to an attorney. Have him or her with you now or at any time during questioning. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you. If at any time you wish to stop talking or have an attorney present, all questions will be stopped at your request. Do you understand these rights, sir?
I understand.
Thank you, sir. You care to tell me what's going on today while you're walking around with all these guns sticking out everywhere?
I'm fishing, and I'm open carry while fishing, which is perfectly legal in the state of Florida. And other than that, I'm not answering any other questions.
Okay.
If you guys check out Florida Statute 790.25.
What statute?
790.25,
What does it say?
subsection H.
What does it
While
say?
hunting, fishing, camping, or traveling or to or from such an event, it is legal to open carry in the state of Florida.
We'll confirm that, and I think you're right. And
I don't know that it's open carry, though. I know you can carry.
Yes.
I don't know that it's open carry, but
we're
you're correct.
gonna review the statute, but along with that, you're also concealed carrying a firearm,
Correct.
which is not legal. Going to and
Did you see my permit in my wallet?
No, because it didn't go through your wallet.
we haven't gone through. I asked you if you had a pistol permit, and you said you were not going to answer. If you have a pistol permit, then it's perfectly legal.
Right, you were referring to the open carry there.
No, I asked you if you had a pistol permit in general.
I didn't know. I misunderstood your question.
Okay. Then that's fine. We're here to conduct an investigation. If you have a pistol permit, you're coming to and from fishing, we'll verify all that. And if everything is all right, we'll return your firearms to you and let you be on your way.
Where's your permit at?
It's in that wallet. Again, understand I'm not consenting to any searches or anything, so.
Where's your
Behind the picture of my wife.
Which one? This one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but you are subject to produce the permit upon demand. And I asked you if you had one, and you wouldn't even answer on that. Is that not correct?
I said I do not have an open carry permit.
I asked you if you had a pistol permit. I didn't ask about open. Yeah, go ahead and, that's probably the right statute if you would check it out. And you do understand that we have the right, as police officers, detaining you to relieve you of your firearms until we conclude the stop.
I disagree with that. But like I said,
For
I'm
our safety.
not answering that.
Okay, well, that's
Other than I disagree.
that's fine. I mean, it's America. You have the right to agree and disagree.
Right.
Got my business card and my ID number for you, sir.
Understood. Thank you.
If everything affirms out, as I said before, we'll go ahead and release you. If I might make a recommendation, I'm not asking you a question, I'm making a recommendation. Since you have a concealed weapons permit, in the future, again, I would say that you might want to, however many guns you carry is your business, not mine. But if no statutes were violated, I would say that common sense would dictate you might want to wear them all concealed. Not saying you have to, if that's how the statute bears out. I would say that common sense so that you don't run into situations like this. I mean, I am a firm believer of the ownership of firearms, your First Amendment rights. Are the cuffs too tight on you?
No, they're fine. It's just my arm kind of cramped up.
Okay.
That's all. The cuffs are fine. They're not tight or anything.
Okay. I'm a firm believer of the First Amendment, and I would try always never to do anything to cut into your rights on that. At this point, we're just, as I said, we're detaining you. If everything checks out, you'll be on your way. I myself wear my firearm off duty, and we're required by policy to have a jacket or something over it. I would recommend the same for you, because then you don't make other people in the area nervous. You know, statutorily that may not be a prerequisite, but common sense. Just to save yourself having the police officers call to check you out every single time. I'll be back. Officer Evans, can I take those handcuffs off and
Hey, Sergeant, if you would, you return my firearm?
we're about to.
Can you just put it in my car for me? I don't want to have it in my hand or
We would
anything.
like to do it that way too.
Okay.
My business card, sir?
Okay.
As soon as you reclaim your property, and then we'll escort you over with your firearms to your vehicle.
Okay.
We appreciate your cooperation.
Yes, sir. Can I put that in my pocket?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Thank you.
People aren't used to people walking around with guns like that, like the Wild West. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna call too, just so you know.
Especially not at a fishing pier like this. Now, if it was out in the middle of the woods, that's one thing. You're talking about you're in a residential area.
Right.
It's not like you have any bears trying to steal your fish.
Who's got them secured?
It's not like you're gonna have to worry about bears coming trying to steal your fish or nothing. That's
Do you mind if do you have a business card? They are loaded. I mean, they have one in the chamber, so
We
just be
treat
aware.
all weapons as if they're loaded.
Okay. Just right over here.
Two clips.
Okay.
Two clips.
Thank you.
nothing's been uncased or tampered with.
Understood. Okay. Have a good one.
You have a better day, sir.
Thank you.
Today's encounter reminds us of a powerful truth. Knowing the law isn't just a right, it's a shield. When you fully understand your rights, from the right to remain silent to legally carrying a firearm, you don't just defend yourself, you inspire others to stand up too. The law exists to protect the people, not to intimidate them. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, leave a comment, share with others, and subscribe so you don't miss more real-life encounters ahead. A man stands on the sidewalk, camera in hand, simply capturing everyday moments, but within minutes, he's surrounded by police officers. They question him, suspect him, demand his identity, yet he calmly repeats, "I'm a journalist, exercising my constitutional rights." Are you truly allowed to film and photograph in public? And where is the line when your civil liberties are challenged? Join us as we dive into a real confrontation, where what starts as a simple act turns into a powerful lesson on personal freedom.
Just taking photographs.
Take photographs?
Yeah.
We'll take photographs of.
Whatever I can see for public. I'm just gathering information about just investigative journalist gathering content for a story, that's all.
Okay.
Here's my hands. Got nothing in my hands, all right?
Why are we taking pictures of the plant?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Raised a little bit of suspicion.
It's not illegal though, right?
Not illegal, however, it is suspicious in nature. With it being as, you know, what it is. So, you have a vehicle with you?
I'm not answering any questions. Like I said, I explained to him I'm a journalist gathering content for a story.
You have an ID with you?
And so he's already confirmed I'm not breaking any laws. So.
Well, we're still talking to you. You need to identify who we're talking to.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
We're trying to identify who we're talking to, just because there was a suspicious. It was called out that there was a suspicious person walking around taking photographs. The way things are right now, we at least need to identify who we're speaking to, so we can make a notation that you were in the area, who you were, and what you were doing. If you're taking photos, that's fine. But we still need to find out who we're talking to.
Who I am is investigative journalist gathering content for a story.
Okay, I need your name now.
And I'm taking photographs.
So that's perfect.
Unless I'm being detained. Am I being detained?
It's an investigation, so now you are being detained. Right?
I am being detained?
You are being detained until we can figure out who your name is. I'm giving you a chance to give me your name. We're conducting an investigation as to what you're doing. Therefore, I'm asking you for your name.
What reasonable articulable suspicion do you have that a crime is afoot?
You're in an area taking photographs of a power plant.
Is taking photographs of a power plant a misdemeanor or a felony?
What is that? Sorry?
Is it a misdemeanor or a felony to take pictures?
Right now you're failing to identify who you are while being investigated by a law enforcement officer. That's the crime that you're committing at this point.
Well, what would that be?
Failing to provide an identification to a law enforcement officer when you have been asked to do so.
Is that a crime?
It is a crime.
You have to provide law enforcement with an identification or your name, so that when it's been asked upon you not doing so.
But you've already confirmed that I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not violating any laws.
Failing to identify yourself at this point.
There's no duty. I'm not refusing. Don't get me wrong. But there's no duty to identify if I'm not suspected of a crime.
Okay.
Is that right?
We're telling you right now, you're completing an investigation as to what you're doing and what you're photographing.
I've already told you that I'm an investigative journalist gathering content for story.
Along with that, we need to identify. We're asking you that we need to identify who you are, so we can make a notation that you were in the area and you're going to be in the area taking photographs. Okay, failing to provide law enforcement officer with a form of identification after you have been asked to do so is a crime.
Okay, so I'm not refusing. What will happen if I don't give you guys identification? Because I don't think it's any of your business who I am. You've already confirmed that I'm not committing a crime. What I'm doing is perfectly lawful. I'm standing on a public sidewalk. Not only is it, just let me finish. Not only is it perfectly lawful, it's constitutionally protected activity. Okay. Did you guys take an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution?
Okay. I'm not asking you whether or not you are going to be taking photographs on the side of the road. That's not what we've already clarified that. Right. However, what we're discussing now is the fact that you're failing to provide law enforcement with an actual identification or your name, so that we can make a notation that we may contact you. Right?
This is a First Amendment protected right. You guys are detaining me unlawfully. And now you're forcing me to give up my identification, which is unlawful. And I'm going to give you guys a chance not to do that. I'm not refusing to do it, but I'm going to give you guys a chance not to unlawfully detain me.
We need to know who we're speaking to.
Are you going to give us your identification or not?
Am I going to be arrested or not if I don't give it to you?
It just depends. Why are you refusing to give it?
Because it's none of your business who I am. It's my personal information.
I'm a law enforcement officer. I have the right to find out who I am.
What is y'all's names and badge numbers? Do you have a supervisor?
I do. You want me to come over? Because I'll be more than glad
Please,
to
please call your supervisor and we'll take it from there, okay? Now I want to make it clear I don't consent to being detained. I like to be free to go and go about my business.
I understand that.
Are you recording as well?
Yes, everything's
Excellent,
recorded.
excellent.
He's also recording a live streaming on Facebook right now.
That's perfect.
You guys both confirmed that you're recording, so I'm going to be doing,
Everything's being recorded.
I will be doing a public records request to obtain those videos.
Right now you're telling me you're a journalist, and that's perfectly fine, but I have no way of proving that unless you provide me some kind of identification that states that you are. And if you do, then that's fine. You're good to go. We'll go on our own way. Well, it's the loitering and prowling is what we were looking at, because you're in an area at a time that's not common for normal people to be in, photographing.
Like I expressed to Deputy Richardson, I do not consent to being detained. I would like to be free to go as soon as possible.
As soon as we can find out who you are and we can possibly identify who you are, you'll be more than glad to go.
All right, sir, I'm going to advise you of your constitutional rights, okay? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions, and to have him listen during any question. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you. Before any question, if you wish, if you decide to answer questions without a lawyer present, you'll still have the right to stop answering at any time. You'll also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. Do you understand each of those rights? Advice explain them to you.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Ford. How are you, sir?
Sergeant Ford.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Jeff.
Jeff, okay.
Investigative journalist. I'm just taking photographs. They've already advised me that that is not illegal.
No, it's not. And no, Jeff, I don't think you're a terrorist. Oh, fine, but if that's all you do is taking pictures.
Okay. Am I free to go?
Outside, Jeff.
I know it is. Am I free to go?
What's that?
Am I free to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What's that?
We didn't know who you were.
Well, you don't want to give us your last name or anything like that, Jeff?
I'd rather not if I'm not doing anything illegal.
He wouldn't even give us his first name. So.
Well, you said it's Jeff. I mean, if it's Jeff, Jeffrey, I don't know.
Okay.
But no, you're not doing anything illegal.
Okay. So I'm free to go?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to head this way if I could just...
Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Jeff, you know that, were you recording our conversation between the two of us?
I am, yes, sir.
Okay, well, you didn't tell me you were recording that conversation, did you?
No, sir.
Okay, that's illegal under the Florida statute. You realize that?
Actually, it is not.
It's under Security Communications Act is what it is.
Not when it comes to public officials.
No, I think you're wrong, buddy. Okay? But you need to tell me you're recording me. If I'm talking to you, say, hey, I'm recording this conversation. And I'll be fine with that because you've told me you're recording me, okay?
Okay, am I free to go?
Yeah, you're free to go.
Thank you.
I bring that to your attention.
In a democratic society, the freedom of speech, the right to film in public, and the right to remain silent. These are not privileges, but constitutional protections. Today's story isn't just about a man with a camera. It's a reminder that any of us, standing on a sidewalk, holding nothing more than a phone, can become the first line of defense for civil liberty. Know your rights. Because when you know what your rights are, you'll know when they're being taken away.